Cooking at home costs more than eating out? WNBA players want profit sharing. How much is 50% of zero? And so much more with new videos every single week when you support The Habit at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. The one thing I love about creating YouTube videos is the unpredictability of how people will react to them. I never know. I do a video about, say, Andrew Tate or that fucking neckbeard who struck out 2 million times on Tinder, thinking, this is gonna make a bunch of people mad. And it doesn't. Dislikes don't even crack 100, relatively calm comments section. Then I do a video about something I don't think anyone will get that upset over, like, say, making fun of Sleep Token. Over 100 dislikes in the first 24 hours, 1,000 comments. How dare you say mean things about a band I like? So, I can make fun of you for being a fat incel, but don't make jokes about your favorite music? Okie dokie. And so, let's talk about a subject that both sides have called a conspiracy at one time or another when their guy was apparently on the wrong side of it. You've read the title. Your old pal Buckley is going to finally talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I know what you're thinking. Buckley, you're a little behind on this topic. And I know what Epstein's clients are all thinking. A little behind? Where? Yeah, I mean, I'm really behind if you consider that Epstein left this world, either of his own free will or someone else's, back in 2019. But I was on hiatus then, so let's claim that's the reason I've never done a video about one of the most infamous sex trafficking pedophiles. But also, I guess I probably thought there just wasn't much of a reason to do one either, right? What's there to talk about? I'm a comedy channel who gives my opinion in an often angry but hopefully humorous way, but what was there to say after his death? Good? That's not even a short, it's barely a vine. But in the years since his untimely passing, there's been a lot of heated discussion of the Epstein Files. I mean, they arrested him for a reason. The FBI raided his private Scaramanga island. That's unfair. Scaramanga only had one little person on his island, and he didn't make anyone fuck knick-knack. The evidence they found was so damning that he, or someone else, felt that he couldn't be left alive. They arrested, convicted, and sentenced his so-called recruiter, Ghislaine Maxwell, to 20 years in prison. There must have been evidence to put her away. She was convicted of trafficking underage girls. Trafficking them to who? You generally don't deliver a pizza to yourself. He was supposedly having parties on his island, flying in a who's who of people. The flight logs were made public years ago. His contact list released more recently, which has like 100 celebrities and other notable names that he had personal phone numbers for, along with a handful of names mentioned in court documents, including Donnie T and Slick Willie Clints, who we already knew had some level of association with him. There's pictures dating back decades. Ghislaine offered basically a fucking bounty to anyone who could discredit a woman who claims that Stephen Hawking participated in an orgy with underage women on the old Pedo Peninsula. I feel like every photo of Stephen Hawking proves he didn't really participate. The guy talked through a computer and was fed and shit through tubes. I don't think he was fucking multiple girls. At best, he was providing the world's unsexiest JOI soundtrack. Oh yes, now take her from behind, slap her ass. Yes, that's it. The best part about that joke is that when someone says, Buckley, that's not what a JOI video is, they just outed themselves as a lonely pervert. But of course, this has been politicized from the start, and continues to be. And it shouldn't be, right? We should all be pretty united on the idea that having sex with underage girls is wrong, and trafficking them to rich, famous, and powerful assholes is even more abhorrent. Can we start there? Pretty united on that? 99.9% like ratio there? One guy saying, oh, well, what if they wanted to be sold into sex slavery? Maybe they like it. And it's just P. Diddy wearing Groucho Marx glasses? But in 2019, when it was announced that Epstein died, immediately the right-wingers were like, oh, the Clintons did it! The Clintons had him murdered! And the left-wingers just kept posting the same picture of Trump and Epstein in response, and both these groups kept blaming the other. Oh, it's the Republicans that are pedos. Nuh-uh, it's the Democrats and the Hollywood elites. When again, should this not be a pretty bipartisan topic? Should we not want anyone who sampled the all-you-can-bang youth buffet at Epstein Island to be tossed into a fucking pit for the rest of their lives, regardless of who they vote for or what office they held or hold? Well, I can tell you one person that doesn't feel that way. Scott Adams, the creator of the newspaper cartoon Dilbert. Over the last few years, he's shown us that he never intended for you to side with or identify with Dilbert. He's a lazy, shiftless employee who dares to defy his infallible boss. The boss is actually meant to be the hero of the story, the guy who blames everyone else when something goes wrong, thinks he's always right when he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and wants everyone to kiss his ass. That's the guy you're supposed to love. So anyway, Scott posts maybe the fucking craziest take of the whole Epstein case. I won't read you the whole thing, but I want to start here. We elect a president to decide, in part, what the public can safely see. Would you favor full disclosure of the Epstein Files if you knew it would derail a peace negotiation? Would you favor full disclosure if you knew it would end Republican control of Congress and plunge the country back into a Democrat open border hellscape? So what he's saying is, and believe me, this is a hypothetical. What if the client list isn't filled with Democrat names, but it's filled with Republican names? What then? What if a bunch of pedos went to jail and the only people left to fill those seats in Congress are people who didn't fuck kids? What if my God who art in the Oval Office, hallowed be thy name, was implicated and couldn't negotiate peace between two countries who've been fighting for half a century or more and will never get along? Take your pick as to which two I'm talking about. What if the only person who could stop World War III was a pedophile? Would you really want him to answer for his crimes? The fucking mind in that bald dome of Scott's. But anyway, yeah, Scotty, I don't care. This shouldn't be politicized. This should be about finding out who was there and what they did. It wasn't an empty island with Jeff and his harem going, no customers again? All right, kids, back to your studies. The Department of Justice made a big production out of releasing what they called the first phase of files, legitimizing cornball influencers like libs of TikTok by inviting them to the White House and handing them a binder full of absolute bullshit that everyone already knew. She was so proud to show it off. And since then, she hasn't said shit about the rest of it, because, out of nowhere, Trump became very vocal about not releasing the rest. He's suing the Wall Street Journal over their reporting of a birthday card that he supposedly sent Epstein. He's calling it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax and says it is being pushed by the radical left Democrats and just plain troublemakers. So to recap, a few years back, it wasn't a hoax, there was a client list and the Democrats had him killed in his prison cell. Hillary herself beat him to death with Hunter Biden's laptop or whatever. Then, once the Democrats were like, yeah, release all them files, see if we care. Oh, now it's a hoax. Kash Patel, the FBI director, in that first phase of releases, said there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. Well, I guess they unturned all the stones and are now claiming there's no client list, and Jeffrey Epstein did indeed kill himself in his cell. No one else was involved. Caving to the pressure of people within his own party, like Speaker Mike Johnson, one of Trump's own guys, or the old three-toed sloth herself, MTG, a woman who previously wouldn't say shit about her glorious boss if she had a mouthful of it, Donnie said he will push for the rest of the grand jury testimony to be unsealed. Names all redacted, of course, for privacy. But what's to release? FBI says there's no client list, so someone else is going to have to come forward if we ever want to know what happened on that island. One of the people who did know is also dead. Virginia Giuffre made her exit from this world earlier this year. No note or anything, but a life of being passed around by Jeffrey to Prince Andrew and a dozen or so other degenerates and not being believed probably had a little something to do with it. Trump, who again says this is all a liberal hoax, admitted recently that Virginia was poached from Mar-a-Lago by Epstein, and that's when they had their falling out. He was mad that Epstein was stealing workers from him. "Hey, he stole the 16-year-old that was working at my spa to work at his," is a sentence that just raises more questions that are just a conspiracy, man. Elon claimed to know the truth, told us to mark his post for the future, and accused Trump of being in the files. Which, again, yeah, we already know he is. Does Elon know more? We know he probably didn't do anything. Elon likes his women like he likes his turkeys. Basted, not stuffed. But you know what? Hot take coming through. I believe there's no client list. I do. I think the flight logs in his Rolodex are as close as we're ever gonna get. And everything else is he said, she said. I don't think Epstein was writing fucking receipts, keeping them all in QuickBooks. Let's see here. Dustin Hoffman, one 13-year-old blonde, slightly used. Ted, Bobby, and Mary Kennedy, one 14-year-old brunette, family discount. You know, but someone did something, and you should want those people to be brought to justice, no matter what it means for your team. Scott Adams says, if you can't say what you would give up to get the full Epstein disclosure you crave, you're not a serious person. Scott, anyone, if you're saying, well, it's okay to buy and sell kids to bang as long as you're on the political side I align with, then you are a serious person, all right. In serious need of a fucking hard drive check.